gospel of reversal. The last shall be first, the first shall be last. And Julie Coyne has been sent, and I know she's been sent by God, to work with people who would be considered the last and the least in Guatemala. And as you'll see their shining faces, you'll see that God's love has reached them through Julie and made a huge difference in their lives. So I present to you Julie Coyne.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming out in this kind of nasty weather today. And these torrential rains, I'm hoping I didn't bring them, but this is how it rains during rainy season in Guatemala. So if it ever rains that hard again, just keep us in your prayers, because we're not in cars, most of us, riding the bus and walking the streets in these rains. I'd like to offer my heartfelt thanks to Father Rojan and Father Dave and Father Mike, and to all of you for welcoming me here again today. Education and Hope is immensely blessed to have been lifted up by this incredible parish for over 2 decades. And I am grateful to you for sharing some of your Mass time with me so that I can share a story of one life being touched through your generosity. Nourished by the meal we have just shared together, I invite you to settle into a story about the power of community. Today, I'd like you to meet someone very special to me, Jenny Diaz. When Jenny was very young, her mother tried to provide for her children by washing and mending clothes in people's homes, but she struggled to put food on the table. They were barely surviving on what she earned. Desperate to be able to adequately provide for her family, her mother made the drastic decision to leave home in search for a better job, sending the youngest children to live with their father. Jenny's father had another family with 7 more children. He was a violent alcoholic who spent more time in cantinas than at home. Unable to hold a job, it wasn't uncommon for him to sell the children's clothes to support his addiction. Jenny's father beat her stepmother and the children. Everyone who lived under that roof suffered. Jenny tells of hiding with her siblings in the cornfields to escape the severe physical abuse inflicted on them. Some nights, they were forced to sleep at a neighbor's house because he wouldn't let them in. Other times, they went without food. After months of petitioning the courts, Jenny's maternal grandmother got custody of the sisters. You may remember Doña Diego from stories I've told in the past. Despite her advanced age, Doña Diego became the primary caretaker for 8 of her grandchildren. The children were safe now with a roof over their heads, but there was little hope that they'd be able to attend school. In a miraculous stroke of luck, Jenny's grandmother was put in touch with Education and Hope, and we received all 8 children into our program. Jenny was only 6 or 7 when we first met. Living with her grandmother meant that Jenny had new responsibilities. The sisters would accompany Doña Diego to the market to collect food scraps to feed the cows, and then they'd take their cows out to pasture. On days when there was no money for firewood, they would go from store to store asking for cardboard to burn. Each day, Jenny would carry the big bucket of cooked nixtamal to the molina, where they would grind the corn to make tortillas. Meals were cooked over a wood-burning stove, dishes washed in a cold water basin. Once, when her grandmother was sick, Jenny and her sisters took the bus to the market in search of vegetable scraps for the cows. The bundles they were carrying home on their heads were so large and unwieldy that a woman stopped them in the street, demanding to know where their mother was, wanting to report such a woman for child abuse. Saturdays, her grandmother went to church all day, so Jenny was in charge, cooking all the meals, washing everyone's school uniforms, and then cleaning the house. At home, they ate very humbly. Some days it was corn tamalitos with salt. Other days, black beans. Occasionally, it was vegetable stock. Jenny remembers being astonished during her first meal at Education and Hope. She had never seen that much food being cooked in her life. And imagine her surprise when she was handed a dish with 3 different kinds of food, all on the same plate. She had never before enjoyed a glass of fresh juice and was thrilled when she was offered seconds. Given the demanding responsibilities that Jenny had at home, helping to care for her siblings and cousins, it's not surprising that her grades were initially unremarkable. In fact, they were so poor that she almost dropped out of school in the 8th grade. But Jenny says that somehow she began to understand the important role completing her education would play in her future. She dedicated herself to her studies and tried to balance the time she spent taking care of the other children. With this change of outlook, Jenny began to thrive, and she graduated from high school with honors. Noting her high achievement in English, I told her about tuition-free Berea College in Kentucky and asked her if she'd like to apply. I cautioned that it would require serious effort on her part to achieve proficiency in English, but she excitedly agreed, undaunted by the challenge. While she devoted hours and hours each day to her English studies, Jenny also worked as a tutor in the after-school program. What a joy to watch her in the classroom. Her positivity, her resilience, her devotion to love are all inspirational. She possesses the gift of being able to reflect back to each of her students the expansiveness of their own potential. Having grown up in similar circumstances, she truly identified with the challenges that our students face. After 2 years completely focused on mastering English, Jenny applied to Berea College, but was rejected. But without even a moment of self-pity, Jenny redoubled her efforts and applied again the following year. One afternoon in March, as I stood in a sea of children gathered for snack time, Jenny surprised me with the news that she had been accepted, and I spontaneously burst into tears. Each time I composed myself, I'd look at her face, remembering the neglected little girl with unkempt hair who had never once been encouraged to dream, and I'd cry all over again. This success story goes far beyond what we are normally accustomed to. The odds were stacked so squarely against Jenny that I'm still not entirely sure how Jenny was able to rise to such heights. What I can tell you with certainty is this: without the network of support that Education and Hope provides, without the scholarship and the focused attention, the nutrition and the medical care, the nurturing and the love, Jenny would not be where she is now, absorbing the richness of an international education. It's almost miraculous to think that now she's on the path to achieve her greatest dream, to study medicine and then return to Guatemala as a doctor. She wants to set up a community health care clinic to serve families living in extreme poverty like her own. So many elements align to help foster Jenny's incredible success, but at the root of this triumph is the great network of support all of you who make this work possible. Jenny's remarkable story fills me with hope, and I chose to share it with you today because her resilience has been an inspiration for so many in our program, including myself, and I needed a little extra hope this week. But most days, our successes are far less earth-shaking. In fact, many of the essential things that we do each day would never make headlines. A shiny new pair of school shoes, a welcome hug and kiss, fresh vegetables at lunchtime, painting self-portraits in art class, a teacher who will read out loud to you, real shampoo and a hot shower, your own towel, a new pair of eyeglasses, someone who remembers that it's your birthday and celebrates with cupcakes and a present. These tiny details that make up our day-to-day are the mundane, yet still life-altering ways that your gifts are uplifting the lives of so many. Education and Hope provides scholarships, tutoring, nutritious meals, hot showers, medical care, psychological attention, and so much more. Each of these elements is integral, but the glue that holds it all together is love. It's love that helps our program members to feel seen, to feel heard, to know that their lives matter. Love inspires them to dream beyond limitations. Many of our program members are impacted by severe hardship and trauma. We do our best to tend to their needs, but often the scope of these situations is far beyond our reach. We often can't resolve the problems at hand, but we listen, we bear witness, we offer solidarity and companionship. We provide a refuge where heavy burdens can be set down, even if just for a little while. With the air of tenderness and compassion that flows in our program, kids are free to just be kids, even if just for a few hours a day. I think one of the most important things I've learned in the 25 years I've lived in Guatemala is that when we truly open our hearts to hear the story of another, something transformational happens. When we are present to the plight of someone in need, when we listen, really listen, with patience, when we bear witness to suffering, when we choose compassion over fear, when we let go of judgment, when we reside, even if for a moment, in a space of love, we allow an entryway for grace to reach us, and we are changed. I believe that it's God's greatest wish for us that each of us realize that we are all one family, that all of our lives are connected. Each time we open our hearts to get to know a stranger, each time we're fully present and grow in our understanding of one another, we widen our circle of compassion. Creating community is how we begin to heal the world. I'd like to close with a message of gratitude to you from Jenny. Thank you for helping me to become who I am, for giving me the opportunity to grow physically and spiritually. I know I would not be where I am without education and hope and without the support that all of you provide. My great achievements are the byproducts of your great love. I'm so thankful that God gave me another mother who taught me that love makes the impossible possible. The moment we met, Julie started helping me to rewrite the story of my life. She gave me the most powerful tool, education. She gave me wings to fly. But most importantly, she gave me love. I'm ready to learn and to develop new skills, ready to give the best of myself. I believe I have a purpose on this earth, and it is to bring hope and healing to my community. Thank you all for giving me the gift of a better future. Jenny's is just one of hundreds of stories of futures becoming immeasurably brighter because of our outreach. It fills me with hope to think of all that lies ahead for Jenny and for the world she'll be changing for all of us. Thank you for allowing us to open these doors for Jenny and countless others. Thank you for the gifts that you give and the love that you share with these strangers who you now know as neighbors. Together we are writing the story of the limitless power. Together we are writing the story of the limitless potential of the collective power of love. Together we are making the impossible possible. Together we are giving children wings to fly. Thank you.